Welcome to another edition of Community Works. I'm Bernadette Welsh, your host. Each one of our shows highlights a nonprofit agency in our community. Our goal is to educate you, our viewers, about the great work that's going on all around us every day by local agencies and their supporters. When people help their neighbors, everybody benefits. The focus of today's show is a wonderful organization called New Reach. And I'm very proud to have the executive director of New Reach, Ms. Kellyann, who's going to explain all about what New Reach does and how important it is to our community. Kellyann, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Bernadette.
We've been friends for a long time, haven't we?
Yes, we have, and you were on the board.
I was.
And had a big impact and a great contributor to the board, so thank you.
You're too kind, you're too kind. You know, I have a soft spot for New Reach.
Yes.
Which is why you're back on the show.
Yes.
Okay, all kidding aside, Kellyann, could you tell our viewers about the mission of New Reach?
Sure. I think most folks are probably aware, it's been in the news a lot, that the homeless population is growing. We're having a housing crisis in our state, and hunger is certainly growing as well. So New Reach's mission is to inspire independence and help people that are affected by housing insecurity, homelessness, hunger, in providing them support so that they can move out of those situations and into more of a stable situation. So our mission is broad in that way, but we are focused specifically on housing insecurity, homelessness, and hunger.
Excellent. And you've been doing this for quite a long time, haven't you?
It's been a while.
Yeah, so good. Because
30
I want our viewers
years.
to know that this is not a new organization, that you've been around for a while.
Yes, and New Reach has been around for a while. So we were formerly New Haven Home Recovery. We incorporated in 1990 as one emergency homeless shelter for women and children. But over the years, as the problem in our community was growing and expanding, our community programs began growing and expanding. I think what makes New Reach somewhat unique vis-a-vis other nonprofits is that we actually have a history of merging other nonprofits that are struggling into our portfolio. So in 1999, Martha's Place Women for Homeless Women Shelter moved into our portfolio. In 2012, Life Haven Shelter, which is a well-known organization
For sure.
that's been around for decades. We talked with their board of directors and merged them into New Reach, and it's going strong today. Most recently, the FISH program, which is Food and Service to the Homebound, which is also about 58 years old in this community.
I didn't realize they'd been around
Yes,
that much.
and they provide grocery delivery to people who are homebound. So they merged in with us in 2023.
Oh, there you go.
And currently, we're actually working on, some of your viewers may have heard that Youth Continuum closed its operations.
Oh, no, I did not know that.
Yes, so we are working very closely with Youth Continuum and Clifford Beers and the state to take those grants and those programs and continue them for the homeless youth and those youth who are struggling with homelessness. So we are in the process of doing that right now. That's to ensure, all of these mergers are to ensure that the services of these nonprofits that provided such an impact in our community, but because of the struggles of operating nonprofits, we're really unable to make it work. We've been able to make sure those programs continue. They continue. They have a life going forward. So it's one of the things that we are very proud of.
And for folks that may not be familiar with each one of those programs, so FISH is specifically to get food to the homebound, folks that can't get out. That's
correct.
Their specific mission
Correct.
that they do. So it's like when the people call that 211 number, they would say what their situation is, and then now you have different programs where that they can be helped by.
Correct.
I think that's very
That's
good.
correct. That's correct.
And Life Haven has always just been a wonderful shelter.
Yes, it is a wonderful shelter. It is one of the longest standing shelters in the city of New Haven. And just so viewers understand, it's not just for people who are from New Haven. Most of the funding comes from the state of Connecticut, so we'll take families from wherever. Right now, we've seen a dramatic increase in the number of families who are falling into homelessness, frankly. And so, we work together across the state. Connecticut's a small state.
Yes.
We're all very proud of our 169 towns, but it really is a small
Yeah.
state. And when you don't have any place to live, those town lines just don't matter anymore.
Yeah, they don't
It's where
matter
can I
anymore.
get a roof over my head for myself and my family.
And for sure. And again, that 211 number helps everybody
That's
to know
correct.
that.
That's correct.
Okay, so we have been talking about all of these partnerships that you've created with New Reach, and I know you have a wonderful board of directors. It changes from time to time, but they help you make that happen. But Kellyann, we started talking about the housing crisis in our state and how the housing crisis has contributed to homelessness. And I think we're going to talk about a little bit about the problem of affordability
Yes.
of housing. So could you address that issue for us?
Sure. So I want to mention, before I talk about housing, I do want to mention that 1 in 6 children are going hungry in Connecticut. For such a wealthy state, or, state that we consider
Sad.
to be, wealthy, 1 in 6 children are going hungry. And the food insecurity in our state has gone up 40% since 2020. So these are statistics from Connecticut Food Share, who's a partner with us in our FISH program. The numbers for homelessness, unfortunately, are even more staggering. And we do know these numbers. We count these numbers. These numbers represent real people that we know of who are showing up through the 211 system. In Greater New Haven, since December of 2023, we've seen an 85% increase in people who are experiencing homelessness. That's just in Greater New Haven.
Wow.
The state number, I think, is about 45%. So Greater New Haven is the worst in the state when it comes to the number of people who are experiencing homelessness. As I said, 35% increase in families and 106 increase in individuals. And these numbers are increasing every day, right?
Yeah.
These are just a fixed number in time,
Yeah.
but every day people are falling into homelessness, unfortunately. Our crisis response system does work. Over the years, we've been able to develop implementations that work, and we saw decreases in these numbers prior to COVID. And people say, well, what's happening? What's wrong with your system?
What is happening now?
It's not the system. It's the housing crisis that everyone knows about. It's that houses are overvalued.
Okay.
There are fewer houses on the market, which drives the amount of those houses up.
Yes.
So people who are selling those houses, may be making out really great in their
Yes.
investment, but where are they going? They're going into the rental market in some cases.
Yes.
And the people in the rental market who are looking and saving to rent a house can't afford a house. There's no affordable homes. There are no small starter homes anymore. When people used to say, oh, like I'm saving for my starter home, and I'm a young family, or I'm a couple, or I'm a single individual, there are no starter homes anymore. So this causes pressure on the housing market, the homes. It causes pressure on the rental market. And if you are a renter, your rent has gone up 70% in the past 10 years in Greater New Haven. If you're a homeowner, your mortgage did not go up 70% in the past 10 years.
No, if anything, it's gone down because you pay,
Correct.
and you're paying it down.
And you might argue, well, my insurance went up or my taxes went up. Not to the level that renters are burdened by this problem.
Kellyann, I looked online for a friend of mine who said, Bernadette, can you help me with finding a rental in this area? I know you know a lot of people. And I looked, and $2,000 a month, $3,000 a month.
70% in 10 years, rents have gone up in Greater New Haven.
I just said, who can afford this? This is insane.
If you're a senior, so
Yes.
say you're a senior, say you even sold your house, you had an investment, you did the
Yes.
right thing for the
Yeah.
American dream, and then you downsized and you were renting a house or an apartment. Your pension hasn't gone up, your retirement hasn't gone up. Well, maybe your retirement went up a little bit, but
Yeah, but not enough. Not enough to meet
for
the
70%.
cost. Yeah.
So I like to stress for people that what they need to understand is our seniors are getting to the point where they are now housing unstable.
Yes.
And it's specifically because of the housing market and what's happening in the housing market. It is not because the homeless system and the response system isn't working, but we were set up as a system to take people who are experiencing a crisis, a short-term crisis,
Right.
something that's happening in their life. We were not experienced to deal with a housing crisis that nationally is crippling.
Yeah, for sure.
That's like the emergency room when it has to gear up, for an earthquake.
Yeah.
And we just simply don't have the resources for the volume of folks who are now asking us for help.
So I want to mention something. So in the past, Kellyann, if somebody would say to you, I could afford the rent, believe it or not, but I don't have the security deposit. They want 2 or 3 months. So is that something still that New Reach is helping people to do? Is that overcome little bits of the problem? Otherwise, they're going to become homeless.
Yes. And that's a great lead in to kind of what are our solutions?
Yes,
so what am I talking about here? How can we help?
How can we help?
Yes,
how can we help New Reach help?
Yes.
Yes.
So New Reach is working to end homelessness and hunger. And the way we define that, again, is not that there'll never be someone who's experiencing homelessness. There will always be people who have a crisis and who need that crisis services. But we talk about it in terms of having it be rare, be brief, and or be non-reoccurring. So New Reach has kind of those 3 areas that we operate programs in. Our prevention program, we go upstream. We try to catch people before they fall into a crisis in homelessness. So we do that in Greater Bridgeport, and we do that here in Greater New Haven. So the goal is really to catch people before they fall into that crisis. That's the prevention piece. That's trying to make it rare. Our response system. So we already mentioned Martha's Place and Life Haven, which are 2 emergency shelters for when people are in a crisis and they do need that emergency shelter tonight and for a period of time. That our program provides that safety, provides that 24/7, and provides services on site, such as access to food and toiletries, and support trying to find housing so that they can move out.
Hey, Kellyann, is there a waiting list still for people who need to have this emergency shelter?
Unfortunately, there is. As of last week, it was 16, which is not awful unless you're one of the 16 families on that list. But that's been growing. It's not as high as we've always seen it. During COVID, it was much higher.
Right.
And it waxes and wanes, depending on how many housing resources we can get out into the community to move people through the shelter quickly. And again, I mentioned FISH. That's a crisis response for people who cannot get out of the house to get to a food pantry. And so we deliver to just shy of 500 households.
Wow.
2 or 3 bags of groceries every month, all volunteer packing and all volunteer driving.
And isn't it true that a lot of people live in communities where they can't get access to good food? Even if they could get to the corner store, the bodega, what do they find? All these chips and dips and not really good food. So what FISH is doing, which I think is amazing, is actually getting good nutritional food to people in need. And I think that it's so great that New Reach is coordinating that now.
It is great. And our last solution is really housing.
Yeah.
Where
can I live?
We've created housing. New Reach has built housing and built affordable and supportive housing over the years to try to help avoid a future crisis. But the state in and of itself has not been able to keep up with a number of affordable units that we need. And people might be saying, well, we're building all of these apartments,
Yeah, but they're high end.
They're high end. And remember what I said about the rental demand?
Yes. Yes.
And the housing crisis? We really need support efforts in all of our 169 towns to create affordable housing that works for their town.
Right.
No
It's
one's
not going to be the same in every town.
no one's asking small towns to put in a 16-story high rise. You know,
come on, it's not going to work.
no, but we have to start really looking at, you know, the ability for our seniors, the ability for our young families, our single individuals, people who are retiring. They are going to need affordable housing to own, and they're going to need affordable housing to rent. So New Reach is working in all three of those areas: prevention, the crisis response, and in the housing piece.
In the housing piece. Well, thank you very much, because that really explains more in depth of really what the mission is, what you're really doing to help solve this problem of homelessness. Okay, so I understand, and I know from being a past board member, that it's data driven. You're not, some people get confused and they say, well, if I give this charity, if I support this charity, are the programs working? And I know you mentioned that they are, but could you again tell people why it's solution-based, data-based? Where do you get your statistics from? Are you counting folks? How does that work? Could you expand on it just a little bit?
We actually have a statewide system that, again, everyone who's entering our system is coming through 211. That's where the data starts.
Okay.
And folks come into the system, and we have something called the by name list. So we know who is requesting housing on the daily, every day. We know how many new people called. Our staff meet every morning in collaboration with the other providers. And all of that is held in a secure database where we can look and see, where we can run these statistics. That's how I know that in Greater New Haven our numbers are up 85% since 23. You know, that's how I know our family numbers. That's how I know we have 16 families on our wait list. We track these numbers not just for the sake of being able to report them,
right,
but we also track impact. How many people are moving out successfully, and how many new housing vouchers have we been able to secure from either the state or the federal government to give people an opportunity to move out of shelter into an affordable housing unit. And we have partner organizations around the state who are tracking how many new units are being developed, how many new units are in the pipeline. So again, the benefit of being a small state like Connecticut is we really have a good, handle, a good pulse on our data. Is it perfect? No, but show me one data system that is.
Oh, come on, no.
But
let's be realistic here.
it does the job. It tells us we're in a crisis.
Yes.
We are very much in a housing crisis, and I think many people know this. It's in the paper all the time.
Yeah.
But they may not always understand its connection, the housing crisis connection, the I can't find a starter home. This house that I looked at 3 years ago is $150,000 more than it was.
Right.
They're not connecting that all of those things impact a housing environment that then impacts renters, people on fixed incomes, and people of low income, so that when all of those rentals start going up because of all these other factors, people start to get pushed out of their house.
And they wind up sleeping in their cars and doing things that we would think of unspeakable things with their children in the car.
Often people, their first is, friends and family.
Right. Can you help me? Can you help me?
I don't know if you have space in your home for friends and family. I'm a renter. I have one bedroom.
There you go. Yeah.
I don't. But I have a brother who I'm sure he would take me in. We'll have to see if he's watching, if he'll say yes or no.
You just send him a Christmas present. Are you on good terms?
But some people
might not
may
that.
not have that. Some people's families and friends might not have the resources to help them long term.
Right. They could do it for a little while, but not for long term.
I think one of the things I'd like for people to take away is that, if someone is experiencing homelessness and hunger, it's just their current situation.
Yeah.
It doesn't define them.
No, they're good people.
It's not who they are.
No.
And yes, I know that there are people that we see who have serious mental health and substance use issues. They're actually the smaller percentage of the people we serve. But they're the most visible.
Yes.
And they're the most, stigmatized and the
sure.
attention is paid to them. They're also the hardest to support
house,
and
yes,
to house,
to house.
and we're still working on that as a system.
I think our country also has to come to grips with mental illness and what it means to not understand that you can get better or that it will get better. This too shall pass. If your mental system isn't giving you that information and you feel hopeless and desperate, and then someone says, well, we may be able to find a unit for you, and you shake your head and say, that's not been my experience, and forget about it.
Yeah.
And you wind up in the street. So I think our society could come a long way in terms of getting rid of the stigma of mental illness and just helping our neighbors because they simply need our support.
Yeah.
So and that's why I'm so proud of New Reach. Okay, so we've been talking about the problem. Now let's talk about how people can help New Reach.
Yes.
So Kellyann Day, how can people help support
There are a
New
few.
Reach?
I have a few ideas, Bernadette.
I think you have a few.
I have a few. The first is really engage with us. If this resonates with you, if you care about this topic, the things that I'm talking about today, engage with us. Give us a call. Let us know you're interested. Happy to sit down and talk more. Happy to show you our programs. Donate items. If you're in a group, a civic group, a house of worship, we can always use items for the families in our shelter and the families in our housing, and the families that we're helping to avoid homelessness. And one of those ways is to sign up for our Shelter Champions email. Every month we put out a quick blast that said, here's what we really need this month. Here are our priorities. So happy to get people to engage that way. If they have some time on their hands, we are always in need of people to pack groceries into the bags at Fish and also to deliver those groceries to our homebound neighbors. You can attend. If you like silent auctions and live auctions, if you like Eric Hummel and trips and jewelry at auctions, we have one on June 3rd at Woodwinds.
Okay.
It's our 20th year. It's always a fun time.
Let me tell you, folks, I've been to some of these auction fun galas, and I have the fondest memories of listening to Eric Hummel auction off things and just being with a community of people that cares. So if New Reach is having a gala and they tell you it's on June 3rd at Woodwinds, you might want to get yourself over there because you will be with some of the most finest people in our community. I'm just so proud of the people that support New Reach.
Yes.
Because I know how good they are.
Me too.
I know how good they are.
There's another opportunity, May 6th and 7th, a great give. It's an online giving for all the nonprofits.
Yes, it's huge.
That I always say, that's a way where you can feel like Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
You can donate. You can be a philanthropist on that
Maybe
day.
a little bit better than Jeff Bezos.
Well, yeah,
That's
true.
not too
Bad
hard.
example maybe right now.
I'm joking.
Yeah, you can be a philanthropist.
Yes, you can be a philanthropist.
Doesn't matter how much you give, but everyone can participate in being a philanthropist that day. And it goes to all of the nonprofits. And it's an amazing event that the Greater New Haven Community Foundation puts together.
And we want people to know that if they go to your website, and of course we will be we'll be giving you that information about the website, but all of these opportunities, they could learn more about these opportunities on your website, wouldn't you say?
Newreach.org. They can always reach out to me. We also have info@newreach.org, which we get if folks just have general questions, if they're having trouble navigating the website or they want to talk to a person.
Right.
They can always do that too.
Very good.
Yeah.
And I think I cut you off in terms of how people can help New Reach by getting a little bit overly enthusiastic about what was in my head at
the auction. You like the auction, yes.
But I think there are a few other ways that people can help.
There's one other that I'd like to just highlight and elevate, which is educate yourself on the issues. These issues impact all of us. Whether it's directly or indirectly, they impact our schools, they impact our churches and our synagogues, our mosques, they impact our neighbors, our friends. And so educate yourself on what's happening and the connections that I made today, hopefully for people. And be part of the civic engagement that's afforded to us in this country, which is call your legislators and tell them you care about the housing issues. Tell them that you care about the need for more affordability in homes of all sizes, shapes, and kinds.
And there's money, and if we have the political will to build some of these housing units, I think that it would go farther. I think we just need to let our legislators know how we feel about it, one way or the other. If you don't talk and engage, then you complain. You complain, but you haven't done anything. This is something very basic, Kellyann, that somebody could do. You can send an email. If you're not a letter writer or you're a little bit intimidated by calling, you can certainly send an email. There are people that look at the volume of emails that come in about any given issue.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Our legislators they signed on to be our representatives.
Yes, they did.
So it's okay to call them.
I think it would be great.
It's okay to call them.
Okay, so we're going to do that. All right, now we're going to take a little bit of a break from the jibber-jabber talk, and we're going to do a different kind of jibber-jabber talk, which we're going to show you some images that will help you understand how amazing New Reach is. So, Victor, I think you have some pictures. What are we looking at here? I think I recognize those folks.
Yes, so that's Mary Grandy and Jane Glassman, and that was taken this year at our auction. And so we're excited. Jane is our co-chair of our auction, and she's on our board of directors, and she chairs our giving committee. So, and Mary has been working on our auction for I don't know how long.
Forever.
But I would just like to do a shout out, not only to Jane and Mary, but to our entire board, our board, we have so many board members who come on to the auction committee and other committees to make the organization solid.
Yeah, for sure. And what is this, Kellyann?
This is our turkey drive that we do the Saturday before Thanksgiving, and it is an initiative that Fish has done for years. And so we deliver to, I believe it was over 800 households, a turkey and the fixins, and we do that all with volunteers. And a big shout out to Carter Mario, who sends carloads of folks over to help us deliver.
For sure. We want to give that. Oh, this looks like Christmas.
This is Christmas. This is our Gift of Family initiative. Again, we ask folks to buy gifts for families in our housing and in our shelter and in our diversion programs and prevention. And they show up every year. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful program.
And this?
And this is some of our board members.
For sure.
Shalante Ford, Julia Hunt-Bagardas, Ed Simon, and Tara Courtmarsh. And the gentleman next to me, to my left, is Jim Sonnet. He is a longtime Fish volunteer, and he was our honoree at the 2025 auction.
Good. Santa Claus.
And that's a little sweet pea who got a present and a visit from Santa at Life Haven this Christmas. And every year the Masons host that for us.
That's great.
And this is our Bridgeport team. Those are our staff at our picnic. Our staff go above and beyond every day, and we do our best as an organization to know that they're valued, they're supported, and that we can help them through the hard work that they engage in every day.
Yeah, because they have to deal sometimes with rather difficult situations.
Yes.
Okay, so we talked a little bit about the future plans and events. We've got May 3rd with the Great Give. We've got June 3rd with the gala at Woodwinds. Is there anything else, Kellyann, that you would like to tell us about? Or maybe you would just like to do some shout outs to some people that deserve it. I mean, even mentioning how corporate helps.
Yes.
Cara Mario. So go right ahead.
Yes, absolutely. I always worry about shouting folks out for fear that I'm going to
miss somebody.
And I would not want any of our donors to be offended, but we have so many private donors that support us year in and year out. We have donors that give every month a recurring donation, some as little as $10, some as much as $2,000. And we are just so happy for them. Are happy that they are supporting our mission and they're with us. But also we have some amazing community corporate partners as well. Town Fair Tire are just solid.
Always.
Mr. Mellon, Mike Mellon, and his brother Neil, who's deceased now, and Kathy Totino, the folks who work over for the Town Fair Tire Foundation are just there. they're our angels. They come in a pinch when we need things and support us. Key Bank is a huge supporter, the Key Bank Foundation for fish, that we are so excited. We couldn't have done the past few years without their large gift. And so we love them as well. I mentioned Connecticut Food Share.
Yes.
That's where we get all of our food to be able to deliver. And we're just so happy that fish is thriving still and still serving close to 500 households. I'm sure I've missed people.
No,
but that's just
like a little
list.
Snapshot of how all the people that are helping.
We have a lot of our partners listed on our website too, and a lot of shout outs there. In our annual reports, we're getting ready to put together our 25 annual report.
Yes.
24 is out there in the universe somewhere.
Yes,
I think it's on our website.
I've got it somewhere in the house.
Yes. So we definitely we appreciate every single donor, no matter what level, no matter if they volunteer, if their time, if they're an in-kind, if they are a shelter champion.
Yes.
And they send the shelter champions are amazing. We put out an email to the group of people who have signed up that they wanted to do that.
Right.
And we say, here's what we need this month at the shelter. Maybe we need a new coffee pot because the one there broke.
For sure.
Maybe we need some plates and some dishes, because we serve a lot of people.
And they break.
Maybe we need pillows. Maybe we need blankets.
Yep.
And a lot of folks go online and they'll order it and they'll have it delivered to us. Sometimes we're not even sure who sent it.
Wow.
But it's just amazing people who care. It's one of the things that keeps us going. At New Reach, we start every meeting with a moment for mission. We find a way, whether it's small, medium, or large, to celebrate the successes that are happening, because we have to.
Yeah.
We have to focus on the successes, and we know they're there. And sometimes the successes are not always recognized by us or the media or the public
or anybody. And to say thank you, Kellyann, is just also another very valuable thing. And I know you folks do that so well.
We try. That is so important. I think our board is amazing. They are engaged. We have gratitude folks on our board that write personal notes every month. To whether it's new donors or recurring donors or folks who've maybe given for long periods of time. They make phone calls to people merely just to thank them.
Yeah, for sure.
Merely just to thank them.
Well, Kellyann, this has been a great conversation. And folks, if you're looking for a charity to support, if you're wondering where you can make an impact, may I highly recommend New Reach. They know, they have plans, they use data, it's data-driven, they've been successful, and they've been here long enough to prove that they know what they're doing. So I hope you will visit that website, newreach.org. Google it if you don't remember how to, just Google it, and it'll get you there, and what you learn about will be amazing. So I want to thank you, Kellyann, for being with us. I want to thank everybody for watching, because when people help their neighbors, everybody benefits.
Thank you, Bernadette.
You're welcome.